All right, thanks, Ron. Good day, everyone, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us today and learn specifically about the importance of accurate CO2 measurements in the grow farming industry, and more specifically, how Belimo sensors can help bring grow farms to the next level of efficiency and profitability. For those that don't know me, my name is Eddie Kelly, and I'm the Sensors Product Specialist here within the Belimo Product Management team. All right, so firstly, I want to touch on the grow farming industry in general and talk about why the industry continues to expand. So that being said, what defines a grow farm? Basically, any building that cultivates or farms organic products indoors can be considered a grow farm. So you may be asking yourself why someone would elect to grow products indoors as opposed to outdoors. Well, there's potential for much more space outdoors. The short answer to that question is the fact that indoor climates are completely controllable. Due to the fact that indoor farming climates are controllable, grow farm facilities inherently rely on the technology within their buildings. So that being said, the Department of Agriculture estimates that the technology focused around grow farming facilities is estimated to be a massive $40 billion industry within a few years. I've included a graph here also taken from the US Department of Agriculture that shows 4 of the top cash crops in America today. As you can imagine, the cannabis and marijuana industry tops the charts at a whopping $1.1 million of yield per acre, followed by corn not so closely at $645 per acre. Seeing that cannabis profits per acre are through the roof, it makes sense that cannabis farmers would prefer to cultivate their product indoors, primarily because they're completely in control of their environment. So again, why is indoor farming better than outdoor farming? Well, the main reason is the simple fact that when farming indoors, you can create an optimal environment to grow your product. On top of indoor climate control, indoor grow farms can really be built anywhere around the world without worrying too much about the local climate surrounding the facility itself. There are plenty of factors to consider when creating the optimal grow environment, and a lot of the factors are based on what product is actually being grown. But primarily, there are 4 variables that need to be constantly monitored. These variables are CO2, humidity, pressure, and temperature. With the perfect mix of these 4 values, yields can really be maximized, which of course results in maximum profitability as well. So how are these values monitored and controlled? Well, I've included a typical control loop here used within the HVAC industry in general, more specifically tailored to the grow farming industry. So throughout a farming facility, sensors measure the various values the farmers need to know, such as CO2, humidity, pressure, and temperature. These sensors then take their measurements and send a signal to the facility's automation system, or BAS, which is basically the brains behind the grow facility. The system then processes these signals, and based on set points and custom programming, the system then sends signals out to various devices throughout the building to change and optimize the climate, such as increasing CO2 levels, decreasing humidity, increasing temperature, and so on. This cycle is then repeated over and over to ensure that the indoor climate is exactly where it needs to be to facilitate maximum growth potential. All of this data can even be locally stored and looked at in the long run, basically comparing your climate data to the growth data in an effort to change system metrics and increase profitability for any future growth cycles. So why is CO2 one of the most important aspects when growing products indoors? Well, CO2 has one of the most direct impacts on plant growth in general. As CO2 levels increase, typically plant growth will also increase exponentially. When farming indoors, you remain in control of the amount of CO2 within your environment, but you need to constantly monitor these levels. Strategically placed CO2 sensors within the growth environment will handle this for you, but as mentioned before, it becomes extremely important to make sure you have the right technology being used. If you have an extremely inaccurate sensor relaying information to your system, your potential for profitability is going to be directly affected. This is the reason why sensor accuracy and dependability is absolutely crucial in the grow farming industry. On top of accuracy importance, CO2 sensors are generally known to drift and lose accuracy over time, just simply due to the technology used to measure the air. Here at Belimo, we offer CO2 sensors designed specifically for the grow farming environment that include technology to effectively eliminate this drift and relay accurate measurements throughout its product lifetime. We've also increased a measurement range within our CO2 sensor product line designed specifically for grow farming. So again, as a farmer, if you can control and fully monitor your CO2 levels, you can really maximize your growth potential, which will then turn into maximum profitability in the future. So this feeds us directly into what we at Belimo here offer for CO2 sensors in the grow farming industry. As mentioned before, here at Belimo, we have technology incorporated into our CO2 sensors as standard to eliminate this long-term drift. This technology is called dual channel calibration technology, which continuously calibrates itself. I'll go over this in detail on the next slide. All of our CO2 sensors also have a NEMA 4X IP65 rated housing as standard, which helps protect the sensor from these harsh grow environments. Our sensors also are all maintenance free, and depending on exactly what you need, we also offer combination sensors that also include CO2, humidity, temperature, and VOC, otherwise known as volatile organic compound measurements, all within the same unit. Towards the end of this presentation, I'll also go over in detail what these combination sensors can include. So again, as stated before, we do also have a grow farm specific measurement range that can measure CO2 values up to 5,000 parts per million. So what exactly entails Belimo's dual channel calibration technology, and why and how is it different than the standard technology used to detect CO2 levels? Well, within CO2 sensors in general, there's typically a single detection element incorporated with a type of gas concentration correction software, which is otherwise known in the industry as ABC logic. This software typically assumes that CO2 levels in non-occupied spaces is roughly 400 parts per million. So as this sensor takes its measurements, this 400 parts per million value then offsets the CO2 measurement in an attempt to achieve more accurate readings. What this means is that realistically, in applications that have much higher CO2 levels than 400 ppm, such as grow farming, utilizing this ABC logic type of technology can cause major accuracy issues that directly impact the optimization of the grow facility itself. The Belimo dual channel calibration technology is equipped with 2 detectors with separate optical filters for each detecting element. One detector is used to measure the CO2 levels in the given air sample, and the other detector is used as a reference to measure the air sample as a whole. The onboard microprocessor then evaluates both measurements and compensates the CO2 measurement accordingly, basically allowing Belimo's CO2 sensors to continuously calibrate themselves throughout their product lifetime. Again, as mentioned before, there's a direct correlation between grow farming profitability and the accuracy of sensors used to monitor the facility's indoor climate. So by using Belimo's CO2 sensors with this dual channel calibration technology, farmers are able to put their best foot forward when it comes to managing their facilities. Another extremely important factor when it comes to grow farming and farming in general is humidity. So generally speaking, when people talk about humidity, they're typically talking about relative humidity, which is the amount of water in a given sample of air. As you can imagine, humidity levels also directly impact plant growth. If the humidity levels are too high, believe it or not, plants can actually suffocate. On the other end of the spectrum, if humidity levels are too low, plants can potentially dry out. So on top of hydration, controlling and leveraging humidity levels within the grow facility can also reduce diseases and help control insect levels and pest infestation. So digging a bit deeper here, you're also able to increase your facility's energy efficiency by maintaining a consistently damp environment. So just like the CO2 levels, cultivators and farmers need to also constantly monitor the humidity levels of their facilities. Therefore, the accuracy of these humidity sensors used also become extremely important, seeing that farmers will be manipulating their environment based on the data provided by these sensors. Here at Belimo, we offer our standard humidity sensors with an incredibly high accuracy rating of ±2%. So remaining on topic with humidity, I want to go further into the details regarding the units that we provide here at Belimo. Each of our humidity sensors also has an incorporated temperature sensor built into the unit as standard. As I mentioned before, all of our humidity sensors carry an accuracy of ±2% as standard with an extremely low long-term drift value. This low drift value makes our sensors extremely accurate throughout its product lifespan. On top of relative humidity, Belimo's humidity sensors also measure absolute humidity, enthalpy, and dew point. These values are all field selectable on the unit itself and are included in all of our humidity sensors as standard. When it comes to the temperature side of our humidity sensors, we have 4 selectable measurement ranges, which also makes it easier for our customers to choose part numbers and hold stock. This allows our customers to effectively order one part number for various zones within their facility. These sensors are also made with some of the highest quality materials available, and the humidity sensor module itself has an added layer of protection that allows it to be openly installed in some of the harshest environments. These units have multiple output types, including BACnet and Modbus protocols, all of which can be seen in our catalog and on our website. So the last main topic I would like to talk with you guys about today is the pressurization and the importance behind pressurizing grow farms. Okay, building pressure is one of the most important factors in general when it comes to building automation and HVAC systems. So long story short, a space that is positively pressured will expel its air when a door or window is open due to the fact that the pressure inside is higher than the pressure outside. Think about shaking up a bottle of soda and opening the cap right away. The soda is forced out because of the built-up pressure within the bottle itself. On the other side of things, a building or space that's negatively pressured will keep the air within itself, and when a window or door is open, outside air will actually enter the negatively pressured space. Have you ever tried to open the door to a building in the wintertime and the door feels like it's near impossible to open? The reasoning for this is the fact that the building you're trying to enter is negatively pressured, and you have to physically overcome this pressure difference or differential pressure to open the door. In layman's terms, pressurization is used to keep things either in or out of the space you're trying to optimize. This goes hand in hand with many aspects related to grow farming and cannabis farming applications in general. So when it comes to cannabis farming, the plants produce on extremely strong odors. So strong that there are actually local ordinances and laws centered around the smell of marijuana grow facilities. By negatively pressurizing areas of these grow facilities, you're able to keep odors and smells within the facility itself, which will help you adhere to these local laws. By positively pressurizing a grow environment, you're also able to keep contaminants out of the facility, which will reduce potential mold growth and plant disease. Again, with a positively pressurized room, when doors and windows are open, the clean and treated air moves outward, thus eliminating any contaminated air from entering your grow facility. With proper pressure management within any facility, you can also drive expenses down and increase potential profitability. Tons of electricity and time is spent on conditioning the air within a building or grow facility. So by using Belimo's pressure sensors, you can ensure that this conditioned air stays within the walls of the grow farm or facility itself. Just like the other 2 types of sensors mentioned before, accuracy again is of the utmost importance. You're only as effective as your technology allows. So as accuracy starts to go down or drift, it will also bring down building efficiency along for the ride. Just like our CO2 sensors, Belimo offers a true auto zero calibrating function that effectively calibrates itself every 10 minutes throughout its product lifespan. So now I want to dive specifically into the pressure sensors that we offer here at Belimo. We offer a differential pressure sensor that provides continuous feedback to the building management system, as well as a differential pressure switch that only sends a signal to the system when its manual set point is reached. Most of the time, these pressure switches are used to monitor filters and fans. Basically, as a filter ages, it gets clogged with more and more dirt, debris, and sediment. As a filter gets dirtier, of course, air is built up on one side of the filter, which innately increases pressure on the same side of that filter. As pressure increases on only one side of the filter, the differential pressure value across the filter will also increase. Once this differential pressure value hits the manual set point on the pressure switch, a relay is flipped and a signal is sent to the system alerting the facility that the filter needs to be replaced. These units then automatically reset itself upon the filter change. On our differential pressure sensors that continuously provide feedback, we also have 8 field selectable pressure ranges. Just like our temperature sensors, this makes it much easier for our customers to use one part number in a variety of zones within their facilities. It also makes it easier for our customers to manage their stock holds. These units also are extremely accurate with a plus minus 0.004 inch water column accuracy on the units that have a pressure range of 0 to 1 inch water column. Also, as I spoke to before, we offer what we call a true auto zero function that calibrates the unit automatically every 10 minutes. These sensors are available with multiple outputs, including Modbus protocols, and we also offer these units with an optional LCD display. Okay, so this brings us to our flagship sensor here that incorporates CO2, humidity, and temperature measurements all within one device. This combination air quality sensor can also be outfitted with an LCD display as needed. On the CO2 side of the sensor, just like the standalone CO2 sensors, we've incorporated our dual channel calibration technology, which provides continuous calibration and top-notch accuracy throughout its use. On the humidity side, we've incorporated the same features as our standalone humidity sensor as well, which will include field selectable humidity outputs with relative humidity, absolute humidity, enthalpy, and dew point, also carrying over its 2% accuracy. On the temperature side of things, we were also able to incorporate the 4 selectable temperature ranges as well as multiple types of output signals in an attempt to be as easily integrated as possible. All of these sensors are contained within our proprietary NEMA 4X IP65 rated housing, which will stand up to the most extreme harsh environments and damp environments, making our sensors really the ideal candidate for any grow farming applications and really any applications that require extremely critical measurements. It gets better. If you were to use the BACnet version of this air quality sensor, you would also be able to read out and monitor all of the different types of humidity at the same time. This means that with the purchase of one unit, you're able to measure 6 different values: CO2, relative humidity, absolute humidity, dew point, enthalpy, and temperature, all within the same unit. So taking a step back here and looking at Belimo's product range as a whole, we can break down our sensors line into 5 main categories: temperature, humidity, air quality, pressure, and flow, which can all be used in a wide variety of applications. For those of you that have worked with us before, it goes without saying that here at Belimo, we really pride ourselves on our technical support team and customer service group. We really put the customer at the forefront of our priorities, and we've recently won an award from ASHRAE for having the best customer service and tech support team in the industry as a whole. So when it comes to our sensors overall in general, we really have designed our proprietary housing around ease of installation and ease of commissioning. Each of these housings incorporate a snap-on cover with no screws, UL listing, and NEMA 4X IP65 ratings as standard. Multiple units have field selectable ranges with multiple sensors incorporated into one device, which again helps streamline stock holds and makes ordering very easy. Each of our sensors also comes with a standard 5-year no questions asked warranty because we fully stand by our products and technical recommendations. So that being said, again, thanks to you all for joining me today. Feel free to stay on the line if you have any questions or if you want to hang around during the question and answer section. If not, again, have a great day and thanks for listening in.
Thank you, Eddie. Before we move on to questions, remember to follow Belimo on social media to keep informed about what's happening. We will now have a question and answer session. Please type your questions into the question box and I will read them aloud. If you should think of any questions after the session, you can email training@us.belimo.com. Okay, we have questions coming in. Okay, first question, are the sensors NIST traceable?
The NIST traceability depends on the sensor itself. I could reach out after the call and kind of define and clarify which sensors are fully NIST traceable. But Ron, you have that email, right?
Yes, yep.
Awesome. Yes, I'll reach out after the call with an actual list of what we have for NIST traceability.
Okay. Is the BACnet connection IP or MSTP?
The BACnet connection is a MSTP connection.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. What is the part number for a sensor that has humidity, temp, and 5,000 ppm?
I believe it would be a 22 DTC 5105, but I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction, so I'll send out the exact part number after this call, as well as the product data sheet with all the other information.
Okay. What is the accuracy of your CO2 sensor, and what accuracy is good enough?
So that's obviously going to be more of an application-specific question, but the accuracy of the CO2 sensor itself depends on the range and the reading. So again, I've got your email here, so what I can do is I can send you more information on the CO2 or air quality sensor product line as a whole that defines the accuracies based on the readings, on the measurement ranges.
Okay, how does the CO2 sensor respond if actual CO2 concentration goes to 0? And does it stay at 0 or fail high?
That's a good question. I'd probably have to look at one of the sensors here within the building itself. So again, I'll reach out after this call on that. I don't want to steer you in the wrong direction with that answer.
Okay, hold on one moment. Regarding the humidity sensors, are you computing humidity and dew point based upon measuring relative humidity and dry bulb?
Regarding the technology behind it, I know the temperature sensor measurement is also incorporated into the accuracy and the equation itself for the different types of humidity. So we've got your email here as well. I'll send out the product data sheets that explain how we take all these measurements after the call as well.
Okay. Hold on one moment, Eddie. Still some coming in.
No problem? Yeah, no worries.
Will high humidity have an impact on the CO2 sensor?
High humidity will not have an impact on the CO2 sensor. All of our CO2 sensors have that NEMA 4X IP65 rating as standard, which provides sufficient protection. And we also have an added layer of protection on the actual humidity module itself.
Okay. How are the sensors powered?
The sensors are powered AC/DC 24 volt. This again, so we've got all this information in our data sheets that could be found online. You know, whoever asked this question, we've got your email as well. So I'll be able to send out the product data sheets that define all of these details after this call.
Okay. Are these intended as duct mount, or do they function well as a space sensor?
They're intended as duct mount. We also have these available in an outdoor type unit with a gray housing. Regarding open air, we have room sensors coming in 2020. The duct sensors will have a minimum airflow requirement, so I wouldn't suggest installing them in a massive open area. But for those type of applications, we have room sensors coming next year as well.
Okay. Regarding the dual channel CO2 sensors, how often does the dual channel calibration system calibrate itself?
So with the dual channel calibration technology, it effectively calibrates itself every time it takes a measurement. So basically every time it compensates that CO2 measurement, it's self-calibrating itself.
Okay.
So basically it's continuously self-calibrating.
Are there any potential issues with installing Belimo sensors within the grow environment? More specifically, a highly humid and damp environment?
Nope. Yeah. So again, all of our Belimo sensors will come in an orange housing that's proprietary to Belimo, which is NEMA 4X IP65 rated. So these will have no problem being installed in any highly humid environments.
Okay, we have time for one more question. Does Belimo offer light sensors?
Good question. So light sensors, actually, we're in the process of bringing light sensors over now. They're not fully available or released yet, but I'll be sure to reach out with different data sheets and technical information as soon as they become fully available next year.
Okay, once again, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. I'd also like to thank our presenter, Eddie Kelly. If you should have any further questions or would like to request a copy of the webinar, please email training@us.belimo.com, and we will get back to those that asked questions that we did not have time to get to. And be sure to watch and join us for our webinars in 2020. Thank you and have a great day.
All right, thanks, guys.